The year is 2016, and with the MLB draft approaching, it became abundantly clear that this year's draft would be different from last year. In 2015, the draft class was headlined by high-end infielders Brendan Rodgers, Dansby Swanson, and Alex Bregman. This year, the top prospect list was loaded with quality arms, power bats, with only one true shortstop to rank in the top 10. And that prospect was none other than the young and very confident Delvin Perez, regarded by many as one of the best prepped defensive middle infielders available in the past 5 years. But 8 years later, he's listed as a free agent who still has never made it past AAA. Hey guys, it's Brett here at Baseball Prospect Analysis, and I hope y'all are doing well. Today we're going to break down Delvin Perez and his disappointing baseball career so far. If y'all have been enjoying the videos, make sure to subscribe for weekly content. I may start posting twice per week if my schedule allows it, so keep an eye out for that. With that said, let's get right back to the video. Delvin Perez was a 6'3", 165-pound pure shortstop out of Liza, Puerto Rico. In the 2016 class, Perfect Game had him ranked as the 18th best prospect in the nation, ranked number 1 in Puerto Rico. Physically, he had a very young and athletic build with a ton of room to fill out. At short, he was tough to take your eyes off, as his mixture of range, footwork, and flair were extremely entertaining. His arm was also graded as plus, with low 90s lasers consistently making their way to first. At the plate, he was fairly inconsistent, either barreling hardline drives to left or getting caught deep in counts, resulting in poor contact or strikeouts. His approach was very pull-oriented, utilizing a fast hip drive to attack fastballs early, producing elite bat speed and big power. But this approach would hurt him late in counts, as he wouldn't adjust and often would display poor pitch selection. Another big selling point for Delvin was his efficient use of his plus speed. Clocking in a 6.53 60-yard dash, he would regularly demonstrate in game by stealing bags and extending his already impressive range at short. Overall, Delvin was easily the best defensive shortstop available, and was a clear top 10 pick in many scouts' eyes. The only major negative thing to note was his lack of in-game maturity. At short, Delvin would sometimes try to incorporate fancy footwork or flair to plays that didn't have time for it, resulting in an error or base hit. At the plate, his obvious desire to pull the ball over the fence to the left would hamper his pitch selection, put him in pitcher-friendly counts. But at the young age of 17, most of these factors were dismissed and were thought to be easily correctable with proper coaching. Heading into the 2016 MLB draft, most evaluators and media outlets projected Perez to go number 5 to the Brewers, who had recently held a private workout with them days before the draft. Unfortunately, this would never happen, as 2 days before the draft it would be reported that Delvin had failed a pre-draft drug test. Then, less than 24 hours later, it would be leaked that his drug was not recreational, but in fact a PED. To make matters even worse, Keith Law would report that the organizations that had met with Delvin noticed a clear attitude issue, resulting in his draft stock tanking even further. In an attempt to save face, Perez's agent Melvin Roman would vocalize his disbelief in a failed test, claiming it was all just gossip. Despite the rumors of a bad attitude and a failed drug test, Delvin would still be taken in the first round as a 23rd pick by the St. Louis Cardinals, inking a contract with a $2.2 million signing bonus. About 1 week later, Perez and the Cardinals would break their silence in regards to the failed drug test. Delvin would claim a friend had given him the substance to help maintain weight, implying he was unaware the substance was banned, and it was all one big ignorant mistake. Cardinals general manager John Mozeliak said that the team's investigation led to similar conclusions. He would add, "One of the things that the St. Louis Cardinals have always believed in is giving people a second chance. One of the things we've always believed in is being opportunistic, and this draft allowed us to do that." John would then go on to emphasize that Perez is only 17, and we should all take that into account, also admiring the prospect's willing to face the music rather than ignore the media altogether. However, the Cardinals would certainly proceed with caution, as they would send Delvin to Florida with access to all the MLB's drug and supplement resources, enroll him in the team's mentoring program, and assign him his own personal translator so nothing could be misunderstood due to the language barrier. In his first pro short season, Perez would impress, finishing with a .294 average and 12 stolen bases and 163 at-bats. His solid average proved to scouts that his bat shouldn't be a concern, and his speed continued to play well in game. The only negative noticed this early was his lack of sharpness on routine plays, which was attributed to his young age. With plenty of promise and projection still there, most evaluators estimated he would hit the bigs by 2021. The 2017 season would unfortunately fall short of expectations for Delvin. He would bounce back and forth between the GCL and Appalachian League throughout the season due to his lack of offense. He would end the year with just a .204 average and 118 at-bats. This season truly displayed his strengths and weaknesses as a prospect. In the field, his speed and glove work continued to shine, leaving little doubt he could play shortstop at the MLB level. At the plate, his approach had improved, resulting in a higher walk rate, but his physicality became a glaring issue. As Viva Alberto's would state, Perez has yet to add even an ounce to his desperately skinny frame, and simply looked physically overmatched. This concern was amplified by the fact that any growth he had prior to the draft could have been due to the PED he was taking. Even with these very valid concerns, Perez would end 2017 as the Cardinals' fourth-ranked prospect purely due to his still sky-high ceiling. In 2018, St. Louis would promote Delvin to low-A St. College spikes where his struggles would continue. In 239 at-bats, he would produce only 9 extra base hits, 54 strikeouts, and a .213 average. Just like the year prior, his defensive skills showed well, but his offensive liability was just as pronounced. With the ever-growing concern of his lack of physicality, he would drop in the rankings to the 25th best prospect in the Cardinals system. Before the start of the 2019 season, St. Louis would give Delvin a chance for some extra reps, sending him to the Puerto Rican Winter League. This opportunity went awful, to say the least. In 23 at-bats, he had registered just one single, resulting in a .044 average. Heading into the 2019 season, the now 20-year-old Perez had a lot to prove. Physically, he needed to show an increase in strength, and at the plate, he needed to bring up his painfully low average. In his first season of full-season A-ball, he would accomplish one of those feats. With single-A Peoria, he would finish with a .269 average. In 458 at-bats, he would log 123 singles, 7 doubles, 3 triples, and 1 home run. So now, in 2020, Perez has been in the league for 3.5 years. He had shown little to no improvement at the plate in terms of overall efficiency, and physically he had added very little, if any, weight on his already painfully skinny frame. The former first-rounder was now unranked in the Cardinal system and struggling to stay relevant. And as we all know, the 2020 minor league season was canceled, removing yet another year from his in-game development. Heading into the 2021 season, Delvin was essentially off of everyone's radar. Baseball America's J.J. Cooper went as far as saying there's basically no real shot of him living up to the expectations that come with being a first-round pick. However, during this year off, Perez reportedly changed his diet completely, aiming to add as much weight as possible before the 2021 season, claiming that his struggles were only due to his skinny figure. With this diet change, he was able to add over 20 pounds onto his frame with hope that would translate to more power at the plate. With the now 22-year-old prospect trending towards the bust category, the Cardinals opted to promote Delvin to Double-A Springfield for the 2021 season. After an initial slow start, Perez would catch fire in June, hitting .328 over the course of 3 weeks, with 3 home runs and 71 plate appearances. Unfortunately, the success would be short-lived, as his average would drop to .265 at the end of the year with only 1 additional home run. Despite the dropkick in offense, he had finally cracked the top 40 again, listed as the 25th best prospect in the Cardinals organization going into 2022. MLB.com reported he may even have a chance to see his big league debut this year as a bench option due to his glove and speed. 2022 would be a disappointing year for Delvin. Once again, despite a poor performance in Double-A to start the season, he'd be called up to Triple-A in June. In Triple-A Memphis, he would post a .224 average of 4 doubles, 1 triple, 3 home runs, and 38 strikeouts in 134 at-bats. For Perez, truly the most notable highlight he had in 2022 was on September 22nd, when the 23-year-old mistakenly pimped a fly ball. To be fair, the strong wind certainly brought in the would-be homer, but still it was quite a comedic end to his career at the Cardinals. As on November 10th of 2022, he would elect for free agency. A little over 1 month later, the Yankees would sign him to a minor league contract and assign him to Double-A Somerset. This new opportunity would be short-lived, as he'd only appear in 19 games due to injury, posting an abysmal 170 average, striking out almost every other at-bat. Unimpressed, the Yankees would release Delvin on July 13th of 2023. As of February 2024, Perez has remained an unsigned free agent. And that's about it when it comes to his baseball career to date. So now we're at the point in the video where I give my thoughts on this whole situation. As always, keep in mind these are my opinions and should be taken with a grain of salt. First, I'd like to address the PED allegations. Personally, I do not believe he was unaware of the PED he took before the draft. I'm not going to get too into it due to YouTube's guidelines, but I have a fair amount of knowledge when it comes to these things. Any PED he could have taken that would have produced the increased strength he needed would have had very obvious side effects. Also, there are very, and I mean very, few oral options that can be taken without an injectable base that would have produced the effects desired. For 99% of the PEDs he would have had available, he most likely would have been given weekly injections to maintain healthy levels. With that said, who knows, maybe a trainer or doc lied to him and told him it was injectable vitamin B. But yeah, even that I struggle to believe. But yeah, I guess, we really have no clue. I would also call into question the sudden weight gain during his year off of baseball in 2020. For all of you that didn't study exercise science, it's basically impossible to add 20 pounds of muscle naturally in 1 year. Only enhanced athletes and gym newbies would be able to accomplish such a feat, and even then, it's still incredibly rare. Now, to be fair, he did not specifically say he gained 20 pounds of muscle, but still, I'm hard-pressed to believe he gained 20 pounds simply from diet change and didn't gain much, if any, fat. Let me make this very clear. I'm not accusing Perez of anything. I'm just pointing out the glaring red flags in his story. As someone who has studied PEDs, exercise science, and bodybuilding, I can safely tell you something smells fishy. Very fishy. But for now, we'll just leave it at that. Now, for his career as a whole, I'm not sure too much could have been done to save it. His main issue was always his lack of strength and physicality, and despite a balls-to-the-wall attempt to gain weight and strength, it didn't translate enough to the field. You can't fault the Cardinals either, as Perez looked like an absolute steal at 23 back in 2015. If I were in their shoes, I would have grabbed him too. In terms of his future in the MLB, I do not see one. Unfortunately, his plus arm and plus fielding aren't enough to make up for his lack of hitting to get him a spot in today's offensive-heavy MLB. Lastly, I'd like everyone to take a moment and envision yourself in Delvin's shoes in 2015-16. You live in Puerto Rico, your family doesn't have much financial security, and you have an opportunity to make millions of dollars and to take care of them for life. But in order to potentially guarantee that, you must take a banned substance that most likely won't cause any fatal long-term effects. Would you take it? Personally, I think I would if it meant I could give my family a better life. But hey, that's just me. Everyone's a little bit different. And that's about it for today, guys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for weekly posts. Hopefully I'll be posting twice a week coming soon. Probably mid-March would be my guess, maybe earlier. And as always, hope you all have a great rest of your day.